Lieutenant Amanda Clark woke up to the loud sound of alarms on the USS Horizon. She jumped out of bed and grabbed her uniform. Something was wrong. Very wrong. All hands to stations. Unknown contact. Captain Peter Williams's voice boomed through the speakers. Amanda ran down the hallway toward the bridge. The ship shook hard, throwing her against the wall. She steadied herself and kept moving. When she reached the bridge, chaos greeted her. Officers rushed between stations. Screens flashed with warnings. Through the main view screen, she saw it. A massive ship, unlike anything humans had built. It was at least 20 times larger than the Horizon, shaped like a giant silver oval with glowing blue lines running across its surface. "Report," Amanda said as she took her station at Tactical. "It appeared out of nowhere," said Katie Bell from Communications. "No warp signature, no warning. 1 second empty space, next second ... that." Captain Williams stood in the center of the bridge, his face grim. "They're not responding to hails. And we can't move." Engineer Samantha Wright looked up from her console. "Some kind of beam is holding us in place. I can't break free. Weapons?" The captain asked. Amanda checked her readings. "All systems ready, but ... double quotes." She paused. "Sir, I don't recommend firing. We don't know their capabilities, and they could have destroyed us already if they wanted to." The captain nodded. "Agreed. Keep trying to..." A bright white light filled the bridge. Amanda felt a strange pulling sensation, and then nothing at all. She woke up on a cold floor. Amanda blinked several times, trying to clear her vision. White walls surrounded her. The room had no visible doors or windows. 5 other people lay on the floor nearby, all in Horizon uniforms. "Everyone okay?" she asked, getting to her feet. "Captain." Williams sat up, rubbing his head. "I think so. Head count?" One by one, the others stirred. Security Chief Daniel Ross, Engineer Samantha Wright, Medical Officer Eric Martinez, and Communications Specialist Katie Bell, all present. "Where are we?" Daniel asked, immediately checking the walls for any weak points. "Some kind of holding cell," Amanda guessed. "But I don't see any way in or out." Eric was checking everyone for injuries. No serious damage. Mild disorientation, consistent with some kind of stun technology. Samantha ran her hands along the seamless white walls. "This material. I've never seen anything like it." Before anyone could respond, the air in the center of the room shimmered. A hologram appeared, showing 3 tall, thin aliens. They had pale blue skin that seemed to shine with its own light. Their eyes were large and completely black. They had no hair, and their fingers were long and delicate, with an extra joint. That humans didn't have. The humans fell silent, staring at the first confirmed intelligent alien life humanity had ever encountered. The alien in the center spoke. Its mouth moved strangely, but perfect English came out. "Greetings, humans of Earth vessel. You have been selected as representatives of your species for the Galactic Sentience Assessment." Captain Williams stepped forward. "I am Captain Peter Williams of the United Earthship Horizon. You have illegally captured my vessel and kidnapped my crew. Release us immediately." The aliens looked at each other. They seemed surprised by his tone. "Refusal is not permitted," the lead alien said. "All newly discovered intelligent species must undergo assessment before classification. This is the law of the Zenth Collective and the Galactic Council." "We didn't agree to any test," Daniel said, moving to stand beside the captain. The alien tilted its head. "Agreement is not required. The test is mandatory." Amanda studied the aliens carefully. Despite their calm words and advanced technology, something seemed off. The way they stood, slightly leaning away from the humans. The quick, nervous movements of their eyes. the occasional twitch of their long fingers. "They're afraid of us," she whispered to Eric, who nodded slightly. "You will undergo a series of trials," the alien continued. "These will evaluate your physical capabilities, intelligence, emotional responses, and cultural development. Success means recognition and admission to the Galactic Council. Failure." The alien paused, its black eyes fixed on the humans. "Failure has consequences." "What kind of consequences?" Samantha asked. The alien didn't answer. "The assessment begins now. Prepare yourselves." As the hologram faded, Captain Williams turned to his crew. "Opinions?" "They're testing us without consent," Katie said. "That doesn't suggest a friendly first contact," Eric nodded. "And they seemed nervous. For a supposedly advanced civilization, they're not acting very confident." "Maybe we scare them," Daniel suggested. "We might be something they haven't seen before," Amanda agreed. Their body language showed fear, not the confidence you'd expect from a superior civilization. "Whatever their reasons," the captain said, "we need to work together. We represent all of humanity now, and how we perform might affect Earth's future." The white room suddenly began to change around them. The walls seemed to melt away, replaced by a rocky landscape. Heat hit them like a physical force. In the distance, rivers of molten lava flowed between black rocks. The air smelled of sulfur and ash. "Physical adaptation trial," said a voice from nowhere. "Proceed to the safe zone within the time limit. This environment has been calibrated to test maximum endurance thresholds." Amanda looked at her crewmates, then at the hellish landscape before them. The captain's eyes met hers, and she saw determination. "There, let's show them what humans can do," he said. Amanda nodded and took a deep breath of the hot air. Whatever tests these aliens had planned, they were about to learn something important. Humans don't break easily. Heat pressed down on the 6 humans like a heavy blanket. Sweat ran down their faces as they looked at the volcanic landscape around them. In the distance, a small blue light glowed, marking what they guessed was the safe zone. Captain Williams quickly took charge. "Martinez, check everyone for heat tolerance." "Right. Look at the ground and find the safest path." "Ross, you take the front. Bella, watch our backs. Clark, help me plan our route." Amanda nodded and pulled out a small device from her pocket. It was a basic scanner that had survived whatever transport method brought them here. She used it too. Mapped the area while Daniel scouted ahead. "The air is breathable, but full of sulfur," Eric reported after checking each crew member. "We can handle it for a while, but we'll need water soon." Samantha knelt and examined the black rocks under their feet. "This looks like volcanic rock. Some areas seem stable, others might break under our weight." "There's a path," Daniel called from about 20 steps ahead. "Narrow, but it looks solid." Captain Williams made a quick decision. "We move together, single file. Ross leads, I'll be last. Stay alert for changes." They began their journey across the hostile landscape. Lava bubbled in pools to their left and right. Sometimes a burst of flame would shoot up from cracks in the ground. The air shimmered with heat, making it hard to see far ahead. But something strange happened as they continued. Instead of getting weaker, the humans seemed to adapt. They found a rhythm to their walking. They took turns sharing the small water bottles Eric had in his medical kit. They even started talking to each other, pointing out interesting rock formations or unusual lava patterns. "You know," Samantha said as they carefully crossed a narrow rock bridge, "this isn't actually as bad as I expected." Daniel laughed. "Speak for yourself." "I'm sweating through my uniform." "No, I mean it," she continued. "This environment is hot and uncomfortable, but it's not lethal to us. It's like hiking near an active volcano back on Earth." Eric nodded. "I think she's right." The temperature is high, but still within human tolerance. The air is bad, but breathable. They designed this thinking it would push us to our limits. They don't know much about humans, do they? Katie said with a small smile. Amanda noticed something else interesting. Look at those observation points. She pointed to small shimmering areas in the air, almost invisible against the heat waves. I think they're watching us. Let's give them a good show then, the captain said. Keep moving, maintain communication, and stay positive. In a hidden room far away, the Zenth observers watched the humans with growing confusion. The lead alien turned to its assistants. Increase the difficulty. They are adapting too easily. But the parameters are already set to their biological limits according to our scans, one assistant protested. Their scans must be wrong. Do it now. Back in the volcanic field, the ground suddenly shook beneath the humans' feet. New cracks opened, releasing toxic gases. The temperature rose even higher, and the path ahead crumbled in several places. They're making it harder, Amanda warned as she helped Katie jump over a newly formed gap in their path. Good, Eric said with surprising enthusiasm. Now they're showing us what they can really do. That's information we might need later. Daniel looked back at him. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Eric shrugged. I grew up in Arizona. This reminds me of home in August. Even as the conditions worsened, the humans adjusted their strategy. They tied pieces of their uniform sleeves over their mouths to filter the worst gases. They formed human chains to help each other over dangerous sections. They even started timing the ground tremors, noticing they followed a pattern. The safe zone is just ahead, Samantha called out. Maybe half a mile more. We can make it. The captain encouraged. We're doing well on time. The final stretch proved the most difficult. The ground became increasingly unstable, forcing them to run at times to avoid falling into suddenly appearing cracks. Heat blisters formed on their skin. Their throats burned from the toxic air, but they kept moving. They kept helping each other. And most strangely to the watching aliens, they kept making jokes. Next shore leave, I vote for somewhere with a beach, Katie said as she jumped over a small lava flow. And drinks with those little umbrellas, Daniel added. I'll buy the first round if we all make it, the captain promised. When they finally reached the safe zone, a cool blue bubble of air surrounded by the hellish landscape, all 6 humans were alive. They had cuts, burns, and were exhausted, but they had completed the trial with 12 minutes to spare on the large countdown clock that appeared before them in the observation room. The Zenth were frantically discussing among themselves. Impossible. No species has ever completed the physical trial, with time remaining. Their endurance exceeds our models. And they were communicating the entire time, even laughing. The lead observer silenced the others with a raised hand. We must reevaluate our approach. These humans are more dangerous than we anticipated. Should we terminate the tests? Another asked nervously. No. We must understand what we are dealing with. Prepare the intelligence challenge. Back in the safe zone, the humans drank water that had appeared in containers and treated their minor injuries with supplies provided. They had no idea of the panic they had caused their captors. One test down, Amanda said. Who knows how many to go, the captain replied. But if they're all like this, designed for creatures weaker than humans ... then we have an advantage they don't know about. Daniel finished with a grim smile. The blue walls of the safe zone began to fade, transforming into something new. The second test was about to begin. The blue walls faded away, and the 6 humans found themselves in a new environment. This time, they stood in what looked like a vast library or study room. There were no books, but floating screens filled the air around them. Each screen showed different symbols, equations, diagrams, and what seemed to be alien writing. Cognitive assessment trial, announced the now familiar voice. Solve the presented problems to advance. Captain Williams looked at the nearest screen. It showed a simple math problem. Looks like they want to test how smart we are now. Samantha walked to another screen. This one had a more complex equation. They start easy but get harder, she said. I recognize some of this physics, but not all of it. The 6 crew members, spread out, each examining different screens. They quickly realized the problems were organized in rows, with each row becoming more difficult. Let's split up by specialty, Captain Williams suggested. Samantha, take the engineering problems. Eric, anything medical or biological. Katie, focus on language and communication patterns. Daniel, security systems and tactics. Amanda, space, navigation and weapons. I'll handle leadership scenarios and moral dilemmas. They began working through the problems. The first few rows were simple enough. Basic math, physics principles taught in high school, simple pattern recognition. But soon they reached problems that pushed the limits of human knowledge. This is beyond current Earth science, Samantha said, staring at a diagram of what looked like an engine system. I think it's some kind of faster-than-light drive, but the principles are different from our theoretical models. Amanda moved to look at Samantha's screen. You're right, but maybe we don't need to fully understand it to solve the problem. What do you mean? Asked Eric, joining them. Look at how they've structured these tests, Amanda explained. They want to see our limits, yes, but also how we approach problems. Maybe the right answer isn't the exact solution, but the method we use to try solving it. Katie called from across the room. I think Amanda is right. I've been studying these language patterns, and there's something odd about them. They're not just random test questions. They're actual problems the Zenth themselves are working on. The others gathered around Katie's screen. She pointed to symbols that repeated across. Multiple problems. See this pattern? It appears in the engineering questions, the medical ones, and the physics problems. I think these are real research questions they're trying to solve. Daniel laughed. So they're using us as free labor? Making captives solve their homework? Or they want to see how we think, the captain said thoughtfully. Let's change our approach. Instead of trying to find the one right answer, let's show them multiple ways to approach each problem. The crew returned to their stations with new energy. Now, instead of being frustrated by problems beyond their knowledge, they embraced the challenge. They began writing out their thought processes, suggesting multiple approaches, and explaining the reasoning behind each one. For a complex engineering problem, Samantha didn't just try to design the engine part the aliens wanted. She offered 3 different designs with notes on the advantages and disadvantages of each. For a medical scenario about an unknown disease, Eric outlined 5 potential treatment approaches based on similar symptoms in human illnesses. In the Zenth observation room, confusion reigned. They are not answering the questions correctly. One observer noted, gesturing to the screens monitoring the humans' responses. No, replied another, leaning forward with interest. They are providing multiple potential answers and explaining why each might work. This is ... unexpected. The lead Zenth tapped its long fingers nervously on the control panel. Their approach is inefficient and disorderly. A properly evolved species should seek the optimal solution, not waste time on alternatives. Yet their reasoning is sound, a third observer pointed out. Some of their proposed solutions contain elements our scientists haven't considered. Back in the test chamber, the humans continued working through problems, collaborating when they faced particularly difficult challenges. When a screen presented a complex ethical dilemma about resource allocation during a crisis, all 6 gathered to discuss it. They want to see how we make hard choices, the captain said. Let's show them how humans handle impossible situations. Instead of selecting from the provided options, they created a new solution that combined elements from several choices while adding their own ideas. They explained their reasoning in detail, highlighting the human values that guided their decision. As the test continued, Amanda noticed something interesting. "The problems are adapting," she said. "They're changing based on our answers." Eric nodded. "You're right. They're probing specific areas where our solutions surprised them." "Good," said Daniel with a grin. "That means we're keeping them on their toes." When the final problem appeared, a seemingly unsolvable scenario involving prediction of chaotic systems, the humans approached it together. Rather than attempting a perfect solution, they outlined a framework for continuous adaptation and learning. Their answer emphasized flexibility, cooperation, and the acceptance of uncertainty as a fundamental principle. As they submitted their final response, the screens around them froze, then vanished. The voice announced, "Cognitive assessment trial complete. Results ... processing." In the observation room, the Zenth were silent. Their testing protocol wasn't designed to evaluate the humans' approach. The species they had encountered before either knew the answers or didn't. These humans did something entirely different. They showed their work, explained their thinking, and offered multiple paths forward. "What classification do we assign them?" asked an observer finally. The lead Zenth had no answer. These humans didn't fit into any existing category. Their collaborative intelligence, their comfort with uncertainty, their willingness to share partial knowledge, all of it suggested a type of cognition the Zenth had never encountered before. "Prepare the next trial," the lead Zenth ordered. "We need more data." The white room darkened, then transformed again. This time, the humans found themselves in a misty forest. Tall trees with twisted trunks rose high above them. Strange noises echoed from all directions. The air felt heavy and cold. A dim blue light filtered through the thick fog, making it hard to see more than 20 feet ahead. "Psychological resilience trial," the voice announced. "Confront your deepest fears." Captain Williams looked at his crew. "Stay together. Whatever happens, remember it isn't real." "They're going to try to scare us," Daniel said, checking the area around them. "Probably by making us see things that aren't there." As if on cue, the mist began to shift and change. Strange shapes moved between the trees. Whispers filled the air, too quiet to understand, but somehow threatening. "Form a circle," the captain ordered. Backs together, facing outward. The 6 humans moved into position, each watching a different direction. For a few minutes, nothing happened except the mist growing thicker and the sounds becoming louder. Then Katie gasped. "I see something. It's... oh no." In front of her, the mist formed into shapes that looked like her family members, lying hurt on the ground. They called to her for help, their voices filled with pain. "It's not real," Eric reminded her firmly. "They're trying to get into our heads." But soon, each human began seeing their own personal fears. For Daniel, it was being trapped in a small, dark space, unable to move or breathe. For Samantha, it was a massive machine failure that she couldn't fix, leading to disaster. Eric saw patients he couldn't save, their faces accusing him of failure. Amanda watched as a vision appeared of the USS Horizon exploding, with her being the only survivor. Captain Williams saw his previous ship, where he had lost crew members. During a difficult mission, the faces of the dead looked at him with blame in their eyes. The visions became more intense. Sounds, smells, and even physical sensations made the illusions feel real. The forest seemed to close in around them. The ground beneath their feet felt less solid. "They're trying to separate us," Amanda realized as she felt a strong urge to run toward the vision of the exploding ship. "Don't break the circle." Eric, drawing on his medical training, suggested a strategy. Everyone, focus on something you know is real. A memory, a fact, anything concrete. And keep talking to each other. Don't let the silence make you feel alone. Daniel nodded. Good idea. I'll start. My first day on the horizon, I got lost 3 times and ended up in the kitchen. Storage room. Katie laughed, despite her fear. I remember that. The chef found you eating those cookies meant for the Admiral's visit. One by one, they shared stories and memories, creating a connection to reality that helped fight against the hallucinations. They reminded each other of training exercises, funny moments on the ship, and shared experiences. As a particularly scary vision appeared before her, a creature with many teeth coming straight for her face. Amanda surprised herself by laughing. What's funny? Samantha asked, still fighting her own vision. This whole situation, Amanda explained. You know what this reminds me of? That haunted house attraction they set up on the space station last Halloween. People paid good money for this kind of experience. Daniel joined her laughter. You're right. Humans literally seek out fear for fun. We watch horror movies, go to haunted houses, ride scary roller coasters. We're probably the only species that finds entertainment in being terrified. Eric added. In the observation room, the Zenth were completely bewildered. They are laughing, one observer noted with alarm. Their neurological readings indicate genuine amusement alongside the fear response. Impossible, another responded. No species finds their own terror entertaining. The lead Zenth leaned closer to the monitors. Increase the intensity. Find what truly breaks them. Back in the forest, the visions became more personal and disturbing. The mist formed into shapes of childhood fears, primal dangers, and deeply personal failures. The sounds grew louder, the sensations more real, but the humans had found their strategy. They stayed physically connected, maintaining their circle. They kept talking, sharing stories and even jokes. When one person showed signs of being overwhelmed, the others would focus on helping them through it. Remember, they don't understand us, the captain said. They're trying to use fear as a weapon, but humans have been facing fear our entire evolutionary history. Fear kept us alive, Eric agreed. It's a tool, not a weakness. Amanda smiled at a particularly frightening vision of a massive creature that appeared before her. You know what? I think they're running out of ideas. This looks like something from that bad science fiction movie we watched last month. Katie laughed. The one with the rubber monster costume? You're right. As the humans continued to support each other, sometimes even pointing out interesting or creative elements in the fear visions, the Zenth became increasingly unsettled. The test was designed to find psychological breaking points, but the humans were turning it into something like a team-building exercise. What manner of evolution creates such a response? The lead administrator wondered aloud. After what seemed like hours, but was actually 45 minutes, the visions began to fade. The misty forest dissolved around them, returning them to the white room. Psychological resilience trial complete, the voice announced, sounding almost confused. Results ... inconclusive. The 6 humans stood together in the center of the room, tired but unbroken. They had faced their fears and found them lacking. I wonder what they'll try next, Daniel said. Whatever it is, Captain Williams replied, we'll face it together. In the observation room, the Zenth were having an urgent discussion. They do not respond as expected to any of our tests. Perhaps we should release them and classify their system as restricted. No, the lead Zenth decided. We must understand these humans before we decide how to deal with them. Prepare for direct contact. The white room remained unchanged for several minutes. The 6 humans waited, alert but calm. They had survived 3 difficult tests and felt more confident with each one. Finally, the familiar holographic projections appeared. The three Zenth aliens stood before them, their thin blue bodies seeming to shimmer with inner light. But Amanda noticed something different about them this time. They appeared smaller, less imposing than before. Their posture showed tension. Your species has displayed unexpected traits, the lead alien said. The Galactic Council will require time to evaluate your results and determine appropriate classification. Captain Williams stepped forward. No, I don't think that's how this is going to work. His voice was firm but not aggressive. We figured out a few things during your tests. The aliens shifted uncomfortably, but said nothing. Amanda moved next. To her captain. You've been afraid of us from the beginning. These weren't standard tests. You were looking for our weaknesses, Samantha nodded. And those weren't general knowledge questions. You were testing specific things about humans that worried you. The Zenth aliens looked at each other, seeming to have a silent conversation. They didn't realize their holographic projection was still fully active, showing their real forms in what appeared to be a control room. They've discovered our purpose, one alien whispered to the leader. This confirms they are dangerous, another added. We should eliminate them before they can report back to their planet. Daniel laughed loudly, making the aliens jump. If you wanted to know if humans are dangerous, you could have just asked. The answer is yes, but only to those who threaten us. The aliens froze, suddenly aware that the humans could hear their private conversation. Katie took a gentler approach. We come from a world that tried to kill us every day of our evolution. Earth has deadly storms, earthquakes, volcanoes, predators, diseases, and extreme temperatures. We survived because we learned to work together and to adapt. Eric nodded. Your tests weren't fair because you designed them based on your own weaknesses. You can't understand us through that lens. Here's what's going to happen, Captain Williams said calmly. You're going to return us to our ship. Then we're going to have a proper first contact discussion, as equals. No more tests, no more games. The lead Zenth was silent for a long moment. Finally, it spoke. Your species is unlike any we have encountered. You find joy in challenge. You laugh in the face of fear. You collaborate instead of compete. You are... It paused, searching for the right word. Deathworlders. We're humans, Amanda corrected. And we'd like to get to know you, the real you, not whatever this test was supposed to reveal. The room shimmered and changed one final time. The white walls disappeared, replaced by what looked like a real meeting chamber. It had curved walls with strange patterns and soft blue lighting. Most surprising of all, the three Zenth aliens were physically present now, not holograms in person. They were smaller than their projections had suggested. They stood about 5 feet tall, with delicate limbs and an almost fragile appearance. Their skin was pale blue with patterns that glowed gently. We apologize for our methods, the lead Zenth said, making a gesture that might have been their version of a bow. I am Velen, first observer of the Zenth Collective. Why were you so afraid of us? Samantha asked. Velen's large black eyes blinked slowly. Our world has always been gentle. No large predators, few natural disasters, stable climate. Our evolution favored intelligence over physical strength. When we began exploring space, we discovered that most inhabited worlds were similar. Another Zenth continued, but occasionally we found species from what we call Deathworlds, planets with extreme conditions. Such species tend to be. It searched for the right word, aggressive, unpredictable, dangerous. So you created these tests to identify potential threats, Eric realized. Yes, Velen admitted. When our sensors detected your ship, we were alarmed. Your biology showed signs of a Deathworld species. Dense muscle structure, rapid healing, efficient adrenaline response. We needed to understand what kind of threat you might pose. Captain Williams smiled slightly. And what did you learn? The third Zenith spoke for the first time. That our assumptions were flawed. You showed strength, yes, but also restraint. Intelligence, but also wisdom. You faced fear with courage and even humor. Most surprisingly, you worked together in ways we never anticipated. Cooperation is how we survived on Earth, Katie explained. No human could face all of our world's dangers alone. Perhaps, Velen said carefully, there is much we could learn from each other. That's the first sensible thing you've said since we met, Captain Williams replied with a genuine smile. He extended his hand in the human gesture of greeting. Let's start over. I'm Captain Peter Williams of the United Earthship Horizon. After a moment of hesitation, Velen extended a slender hand with long fingers. I am Velen of the Zenth Collective. Welcome to Interstellar Society, Humans of Earth. As formal introductions continued, Amanda caught Daniel's eye, and they shared a knowing smile. The Zenth had tried to test humanity's limits, only to discover that pushing humans to their limits is precisely what makes them thrive. Do you think they'll ever truly understand us? Daniel asked quietly. Amanda watched as Captain Williams began discussing the possibility of a proper diplomatic meeting with Earth representatives. Probably not completely, she replied. But that's okay. Understanding doesn't have to be perfect to build something good. In the days that followed, the humans would learn that the Zenth, despite their advanced technology, had much to learn about adaptability, cooperation under pressure, and facing the unknown with courage. And the humans, for all their strength and resilience, had much to learn about the delicate balance of a galactic community. But for now, the first step had been taken. The tests were over. Their real journey was just beginning.